अरिहंत सिद्ध सुर उपाध्याय साधु सर्व अर्थ के प्रकाशी मंगलिक उपकारी है। इनको स्वरूप जानी रागते भई जो भक्ति काय को नमाय स्तुति को उच्चारी है। धन्य धन्य तुम्ही से काज सब आज भयो कर जोरी बारंबार वंदना हमारी है। मंगल कल्याण सुख ऐसो हम चाहते ओ मेरी ऐसी दशा जैसी तुम धारी है। ओ मेरी ऐसी दशा जैसी तुम धारी है।
Jai Jinendra.
Yeah, Jai Jinendra. So yesterday we were studying this chapter on Bhagwan Mahavir Swami. We were halfway through, so we'll be completing that chapter. Lesson number 8, Tirthankar Bhagwan Mahavir. So I just shared, I forgot to share yesterday, the description about the Samosaran, the Holy Assembly. It's a very interesting one, 3 pages. I think it's from Ratnakaran Shravakachar with Sadasukda's Tika. In that commentary only, this description is given, and the last paragraph is very important because it tells about the 12 assembly, the first assembly. So in the middle there is a Gandhkuti, and Gandhkuti Muniraj sits in the first assembly. All around the Gandhkuti, in the first row, Muniraj sits in the first assembly. Then in the second assembly, the woman of Kalpavasi gods. Then in the third assembly, Arjika and Manushyani women, along with the countless. In the fourth assembly, humans, including Chakravarti, etc. In the fifth assembly, astrologers. So this fifth assembly, astrologers. I think astrologers are okay, astrologers. Then the women of the gods, the women of the Vyantar gods in the sixth assembly. The women of the Bhavan resident gods in the seventh assembly. The Bhavan resident gods in the eighth assembly. The Vyantar gods in the ninth assembly. The astrologer gods in the 10th assembly. The Kalpavasi gods in the 11th assembly. And in the 12th assembly, all sit in Tiryanch. Okay. So all the animals, they sit in the 12th row. So in this way, this is the structure of the Holy Assembly. There are other descriptions are also there, like there are 8 Pratiharyas, Bhamandal, 64 Chamar, Ashok Vriksh, and this divine sound is also one of that those special qualities. So all these are there with the Tirthankar. There is a enough description of this holy assembly or the Samosaran in the 3 pages that I have shared. And this English is done through ChatGPT, but it has not been fully corrected. So there might be some grammatical mistakes here and there. So I've shared both Hindi and English, but those who want to have some extra knowledge on this, they can just look at it. So we were here at page number 54. Yesterday, the main 2 things that we discussed were the 16 dreams that Mata Trishla got, and the other one was the 5 different names of Bhagwan, of Lord Mahavir, and what is the significance of each name, how the name came into being. So that we discussed yesterday. Today we will be going further into the Indrabhuti Gautam, the chief preceptor. Okay, how he became a chief preceptor, the whole story will come today. And then what are the principles that Bhagwan Mahavir Swami taught in his Divya Dvani, that also we are going to discuss. And yeah, these 2 will be the main today. So we will begin from page 54. 1 paragraph we'll repeat. Kuber was ordered by the Lord of the gods to construct a huge meeting hall that is called the Samosaran. So from here, I'll just make you the co-host. So Rajeshri ji would read today. You have the book?
Yes, sir. I've got the book.
Yeah. Start reading.
Kuber was ordered by the Lord of the gods to construct a huge meeting hall called the Samvasaran for the worldly creatures to meet and hear the divine message of Lord Mahavir. Every being was entitled to go there and hear the message. There was no distinction of big or small. One whose conduct is non-violent and who has touched the intrinsic nature of substances, who has divine deep in his own self, is greater than not only human beings but also gods, though he may be born in a low family. In his religious congregations, kings and the commons, rich and poor, black and white, all sat together and listened to his message. Animals, along with gods and humans, also sat there and listened to the divine teachings of the Lord. Such equality amongst the creatures of this world is difficult elsewhere. In the fourfold federation of the Lord, there were monks, she-monks, male and female householders. Many learned scholars opposed to him because his disciples, shunning their own wrong conceptions, after being influenced by his message of universal love and goodwill. The chief among them was his chief disciple, Indrabhuti Gautam. He was accepted as the first preceptor of the Lord and became famous as Gautam Swami. The story of how he was initiated into the Digambar Jain monkhood is quite interesting. Shall I continue, sir?
Yeah.
Indrabhuti Gautam was well versed in the Vedas and Vedangas. He had 500 disciples. When the Indra realized that Indrabhuti Gautam alone had become the chief preceptor of the Lord, he went to his abode in disguise of an old Brahmin. Indra introduced himself as a disciple of Mahavir and asked Gautam the meaning of a Sanskrit word which runs as follow. So I will not be able to read this Sanskrit shlok.
You can
Can
skip.
I skip it?
Yeah.
Indrabhuti became thoughtful.
Your voice has stopped.
Mahavir. He expressed his desire
So
to accompany.
your voice had stopped in between. So you just start reading again.
Okay, sorry. Indrabhuti became thoughtful.
Yeah.
What are these six? My current is going and coming, sir. That's the problem.
Okay.
Indrabhuti became thoughtful. What are these six substances, nine matters, five ashtikas, etc.? He concealed his ignorance in his pride and told Indra that he would like to discuss these with his master, that is Lord Mahavir. He expressed his desire to accompany Indra to the place where the Lord was delivering his sermons. The time was ripe for the reception of the real spiritualism in the case of Gautam, and for the Lord to start delivering his long awaited message of religion. As Indrabhuti Gautam came near the Samvasaran, his rigidity suddenly turned into softness. His pride disappeared at the sight of the Manstambha, a pillar in front of the Samosaran, and he approached the Lord with the request for his own enunciation into monkhood. By his own ability and magnanimity of Mahavir, he became the first Gandhar of the Lord. There were 10 other Gandhars whose names were Agnibhuti, Vayubhuti, Arvyakar Sudharma, Mandit, Maurya Putra, Akmit, Achal Bhratta, Metaraya, and Prabhas. Among his householder disciples, Maharaja Shrenik Bimsar, the king of Magad, was the chief. He transferred the length and breadth of India continuously for 30 years. Different beings understood his teachings in their own languages. His sermons were called Divya Dvani, and he has upheld the independence of the soul and all other substances. He declared that every soul is independent, none depends upon the other. Self-reliance is the way to achieve complete independence. Self-reliance is nothing but centralization of one's vision on one's soul only, different from color, attachment, and division. Independence can be achieved on one's own strength. You can't get infinite bliss and independence in charity or achieve them on another's strength. All souls are separate and independent, not one, but like one, similar, none big or small. He therefore ordained, number one, regard other souls as your own. Number two, all souls are equal but not one. Number three, if our efforts are directed towards right direction, every soul can attain godhood. Number four, every creature is unhappy on account of his own mistakes and can become happy by removing the mistakes.
Bus. This
Yeah.
much only now.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So you see, Indrabhuti Gautam was a scholar in Veda's religion. Okay. He had 500 disciples. And when the India realized that Indrabhuti Gautam is the only person who can become a chief preceptor, so Indra took the disguise of an old Brahmin and introduced himself as a disciple of Mahavir and asked Gautam the meaning of a Sanskrit verse. As Indrabhuti Gautam was not aware of the answer, so he thought, let's meet her guru only, and then I can know correctly what were the answers. So he asked a few questions like, what are these six substances? then 9 matters. 9 matters, no, actually it is 9 tattva and 5 astikais. Hmm. No padarth. It is no padarth. So it is not 9 matters. It is padarth. Padarth means substance. Or we can call it as 9 elements. So we know 7 elements, but if you add merits and demerits, then it becomes 9. So what are the 6 substances? 9 elements and 5 astikais. So he never knew the answer. So he concealed his pride. He concealed his ignorance due to his pride and told Indra that he would like to discuss this with his master. So he expressed his desire to accompany Indra to the place where the Lord was delivering his sermons. The time was ripe for the reception of real spiritualism in the case of Gautam. So the time was ripe for Gautam to get the real religion and for the Lord to start delivering. So it had been 66 days since he was at the Holy Assembly congregation, and there were no sermons. Why? Because there was no preceptor. There was no chief preceptor. So Gautam came at the right time, and by seeing the man's thumb only, in all the mandirs we do have this long pillar, and on the top there are statues of Tirthankar, all 4 sides. So by looking at that man's thumb, his pride melted. Earlier he was in that belief that he is the greatest scholar on this earth. But when he came here and saw Bhagwan Mahavir's man's thumb, his pride melted and he became a chief disciple or the chief preceptor of Sri Mahavir Swami. And the moment he became a chief preceptor, the Divya Dvani started coming out, the sermons by Tirthankar Mahavir. So that was the first time that the sermons had started, So he got initiated into monkhood and he became the first preceptor. So by his own ability and the magnanimity of Mahavir. Magnanimity means his kindness, udarta, we call him udar. So he became the first Gandhar of the Lord. There were 10 other Gandhars whose name were, so in all there were 11 Gandhars, out of which Indrabhuti Gautam was the chief one. There were 10 others Gandhars whose name were Agnibhuti, Vayubhuti, Aryavakta, Sudharma, Mandit, Moriputra, Akampit, Achal Bhrata, Metarya, and Prabhas. Among his householder disciples, Maharaj Shrenik, Bimbisar, the king of Magad, was the chief. And this Shrenik Raja is going to become a Tirthankar in the next fourth era, when there will be fourth era again in the Bharat Kshetra, then he will become the first Tirthankar in this Bharat Kshetra. But now he is in hell. He has bounded initially 33 sagar duration in the first layer of hellish being. But because he got Samyak Darshan in between, so that 33 sagar was reduced to 84,000 years. And from the first layer, he went to the, not from the first, he was supposed to go to the first layer, but because of Samyak Darshan, he got into the 7th layer. Sorry, I made a mistake. He was supposed to go into the 7th layer, which is the most miserable, but because of Samyak Darshan, he came to the first layer. So you cannot change your state of existence, okay? You cannot change your gati, but you can reduce the time and you can reduce the intensity. So in the 7th layer of heaven, in the 7th layer of hell, there is very high degree of miseries, and in the first layer there is a little bit less, and there the age was supposed to be 33 sagar, and here it was only 84,000 years. He traversed the length and breadth of India continuously for 30 years, and he spread the religion of Jainism. And there is a speciality with the Tirthankar that his Divya Dvani comes out from his whole body, not from the mouth. And all the people who are there in the Samosaran, they all understand it in their own language. So this is the speciality of the Tirthankar's Divya Dvani. His sermons were called Divya Dvani. He has upheld the independence of the soul and all other substances. So these are some of the teachings. First one, he declared that every soul is independent. None depends on the other. Second, self-reliance is the way to achieve complete independence. Number 3, self-reliance is nothing but centralization of one's vision on one's soul only, different from color, attachment, and division. So color means different from matter, Pudgal, different from Pudgal, because matter only has this quality of color. And attachment means bhav karma, psychic karma, and division means gunbhed. Okay, so there are different attributes. So that is the division. Division means gunbhed. The fourth one, independence can only be achieved on one's own strength. You can't get infinite bliss and independence in charity or achieve them on others' strength. All souls are separate and independent and not one, but like one, similar, none big or small. He therefore ordained, regard other souls as same as your own. Okay? Not regard other souls as your own. All souls are different. So how we can regard other soul as our own? So there is a printing mistake. You can just note it down. Regard other souls as, then you give an arrow, same as your own. So same as is missing. You can write it down. Otherwise, the meaning will change. If we regard other souls as your own, that means all the souls are not independent. So that will be very untrue. Second, all souls are equal, but not one. All souls are independent, but they are all equal. Third one, if our efforts Purusharth are directed towards right direction, every soul can attain Godhood. This is very important. If we also put in efforts in the right direction, we can also attain Godhood. Number 4, every creature is unhappy on account of his own mistakes and can become happy by removing the mistakes. So we are not giving any, we are not blaming any other substances. We are not blaming the karmas. But here it is said that every creature is unhappy on account of his own mistakes. And he can become happy by removing the mistakes. So these were the preachings of Bhagwan Mahavir. Now from here, this has to be read from here. Yeah. So Nancy ji, you read now.
Okay, sir. Mahavir did not propagate any new truth. There is nothing like old or new in truth. Whatever he said is true and eternal. He did not establish truth, he only inaugurated it. He did not found any new religion. Religion is the nature of the substances. The nature of substances cannot be built. How can that which can be built be called nature? It can only be known. Remaining away from the pride of doing and detaching himself from the non-self entities, one who knows the non-self without in any way being influenced by others and in all their perspectives is God. Tirthankar Bhagwan knows and exposes the nature of the things, does not create them. He was a Tirthankar. He propounded the teeth, that is, the way to the liberation of the soul. Acharya Samantabhadra has called his teachings Sarvodaya Tirth, religion that preaches the welfare of all living beings. He asserts, O Lord Mahavir, your religion is for the welfare of one and all. There is no contradiction in your teachings. Only whatever you say is relative, that is described from different perspectives and predominating the other according to context. The assertions of other preachers not being relative are not able to propound the nature of things as they are. Your expositions of the truth of life is capable of destroying all the miseries and misfortunes of this world and of leading worldly beings of their supreme happiness. And as such, it is Sarvodaya Tirth, that is religion for the welfare of all living beings. That which leads to the welfare of all is Sarvodaya, the religion for the welfare of all as propounded by Lord Mahavir and his exposition of truths of life and immorality have no narrowness or limits. The religion of the soul is for all creatures. It is a kind of narrowness to associate religion with human beings only. It is a religion of all the living beings. The term religion of man is also not liberal enough. It limits the scope of religion to the community of the human beings only, while religion extends to all the sentient world, for all the creatures wants to live in peace and happiness. Tirthankar Bhagwan Mahavir has expounded the complete independent existence of every substance, and every substance changes its modification itself. No other substance can interfere in this natural procedure. Even God, the Almighty, is not the creator or the destroyer of this existence of the things. The preachings of Mahavir upheld the independence not only of the living beings but of all the atoms, which are the smallest, indivisible particles or units of matter, substance, and which cannot be further divided. The desire to interfere in the activity of the other is false, or of avail and causing unhappiness. For it is sheer ignorance to regard others as a creator or destroyer or happiness and misery, life and death of other beings. It has been well said that our own merits and demerits will be meaningless if one being is regarded as a creator of others, happiness and misery, life and death. The question is, can anybody, however strong, make us happy, even if we indulge in demerits? Likewise, can anybody be in God Himself harm us if we keep ourselves busy in meritorious engagements? If yes, it would be worthless to do good and be afraid of the bad, because it is not necessary to reap the consequences of one's actions. If it is true that we have to reap the consequences of our own actions, good and bad, the concept of any interference is meaningless. The same truth has been expressed by Acharya Amidgati in slokas 30 to 31 of Bhavana Dwatarni Mastika. In the end, at the age of 72, on the Deepavali day, the last Tirthankar of the epoch, Bhagwan Mahavir, abandoned this physical frame and attained nirvana, complete liberation. The same day, his chief disciple, Indrabhuti Gautam, achieved omniscience. According to Jain tradition, the great festival of the Deepavali is celebrated in honor of the liberation of Bhagwan Mahavir and attainment of complete sentience by his chief disciple Gautam. Thus, we see that the story of the life of Mahavir is a story of the orderly development of the soul to godhood.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So Mahavir Swami did not propagate any new truth. There is nothing like old or new in truth. Truth is truth. Okay. Whatever is said is true and eternal. He did not establish truth. He only exposed it. He only inaugurated it. He did not found any new religion. Religion is the nature of substances. The nature of substances cannot be built. How can that which can be built be called nature? So it can only be known. Remaining away from the pride of doing and detaching himself from non-self entities, one who knows the self and the non-self without in any way being influenced by others and in all their perspectives is God. So this is the definition of the God. Tirthankar Bhagwan knows and exposes the nature of things, does not create them. He just exposes them. He just, in his sermon, he just expresses the thoughts. He was a Tirthankar. He propounded the Tirth. Tirth means the path of liberation. Acharya Samanbhadra has called his teaching Sarvodai Tirth. Sarvodai, जिसमें सर्व का उदय हो. Religion that preaches welfare of all the living beings, not only human, but all the living beings. So, someone may ask that what the 2 sense being and 3 sense being, they cannot understand the preachings of Bhagwan Mahavir because they don't have the mind. So how they are being benefited they are benefited in this way that we have been advised to see and walk, So if we see and walk, we don't kill them. And this way, even one sensed, two sensed, and three sensed uh, living beings are also saved this way. So basically, his teachings is about the welfare of all the living beings. This slok that has been written here, Sarvantavat, that is from scripture Yuktanu Sashan, and the verse number is 62. O Lord Mahavir, your religion is for the welfare of one and all. There is no contradiction in your teachings. Only whatever you say is relative, that is described from different perspectives. So in Jainism, whatever the statements are given, they are all from different perspectives, one predominating the other according to context. The assertion of other preachers not being relative are not able to propound the nature of things as they are. So all the other religions, they don't have this arrangement of nay. So since they don't have nays, they cannot prove the nature of things. But Jainism has this nay or the viewpoint. And because of this viewpoint or the perspectives, the Tirthankar's sermon is able to preach the correct nature of the things. So this is something unique to Jainism, and that's why it is fully proved that the process that is given in Jainism, if somebody follows that process, he can achieve self-realization, and he can also become a god himself. O Lord Mahavir, your religion is for the welfare of one and all. There is no contradiction. So in the preachings of others, there is contradiction, but there is no contradiction in your teachings. Only whatever you say is relative. So now relative means described from different perspectives. Yesterday we read that story, that the friends of Prince Mahavir, they asked his mother, okay, where is Mahavir? So his mother said, he's upstairs. So they went one by one floor, and they went on the 7th floor, and they saw Mahavir Bhagwan's father over there. And they asked him, uncle, where is Mahavir? So he said, downstairs. So then they came back searching each floor and found Mahavir on the 4th floor. And that is how Mahavir taught them that from the perspective of mother, I was on the upside. And from the perspective of father, I am on the downside. So everything is relative. All the statements are relative. So if we understand this relativeness of the statements, we will be able to propound the nature of things as they are. So we can easily comprehend the nature of things. Your exposition of the truth of life is capable of destroying all the miseries and misfortunes of this world. and of leading worldly beings to their supreme happiness. And as such, it is Sarvodaya Tirth. That is religion for the welfare of all the living beings. That which leads to the welfare of all is Sarvodaya, Sabka Uday. So there is something for the welfare of all human beings. The religion for the welfare of all, as propounded by Lord Mahavir and his exposition of truths of life and immorality, have no narrowness or limits. The religion of the soul is for all creatures. It is a kind of narrowness to associate religion with human beings. So this religion is not only for the human being only, but it is there for all the living beings. It is a religion of all the living beings. The term religion of man is also not liberal enough. It limits the scope of religion to the community of human beings only, while religion extends to all the sentient world. For all the creatures want to live in peace and happiness. Tirthankar Bhagwan Mahavir has expounded the complete independent existence of every substance, and that every substance changes its modification itself. So there are no creator God, there are no manager God, and there are no destroyer God. It is all automatically managed. It is all in automation mode. Nobody is a creator or a controller. So Lord Mahavir was only knowing things and not doing it. No other substance can interfere in this natural procedure. Even God the Almighty is not the creator or the destroyer of this existence of the things. The preachings of Mahavir upheld the independence not only of the living beings, but of all the atoms. Parmanu, smallest particle is called atom, which are the smallest indivisible particles or units of matter substance, and which cannot be further divided. So only not the living beings are independent, but even the atoms are also independent. The desire to interfere in the activity of others is false, of no avail, and causing unhappiness. For it is sheer ignorance to regard others as the creator or destroyer of happiness and misery, life and death of other beings. So everything is performing its own duties independently. Nobody is dependent on anybody. Each substance is complete in itself. So when it is complete, it does not require anybody else's help to perform his task, or his duties. It has been well said that our own merits and demerits will be meaningless if one being is regarded as the creators of others' happiness and misery, life and death. The question is, can anybody, however strong, make us happy? Even if we indulge in demerits? Likewise, can anybody, be it God himself, harm us if we keep ourselves busy in meritorious engagement? If yes, it would be worthless to do good and be afraid of the bad, because it is not necessary to reap the consequences of one's action. If it is true that we have to reap the consequences of our own actions, good and bad, the concept of any interference is meaningless. The same truth has been expressed by Acharya Amit Gati in slokas 30-31 of Bhavna Dvatrinchatika, that is Bhavna Battisi. So this is last chapter of Tattvagyan part 1. We just finished last month only. Okay, in that you can see the verse number 30 and 31. स्वयं किए जो कर्म शुभाशुभ फल निश्चय ही वे देते, करे आप फल दे अन्य तो स्वयं किए निष्फल होते. Whatever deeds have been done by us, they definitely bear their fruit. There is nobody else who awards rewards or punishments for our actions. So whatever we do, we are going to face the fruition of it. Whether it is good or bad, we have to face it. There is nobody else who can take our fruition of karmas. अपने, the 31st one, अपने कर्म सिवाय जीव को कोई न फल देता कुछ भी, पर देता है यह विचार तज स्थिर हो छोड़ प्रमादी बुद्धि. Our own karmas bring us misfortunes or happiness as a matter of fact. Let us therefore cease thinking, stop thinking that some other being shall deliver the goods to us. So that is not possible. In the end, at the age of 72, on the Deepavali day, the last Tirthankar of this epoch means of this era, Bhagwan Mahavir abandoned this physical frame means his body, and attained nirvana, complete liberation. The same day, his chief disciple Indrabhuti Gautam achieved omniscience knowledge, complete knowledge, perfect knowledge. According to Jain tradition, the great festival of Deepavali is celebrated in honor of the liberation of Bhagwan Mahavir and attainment of complete sentience by his chief disciple Gautam. So, in the normal communities, this Diwali is celebrated because they said that Lord Ram came back from his exile of 14 years. That is the interpretation of the other preachers. But according to Jainism, this festival is celebrated because Lord Mahavir got liberated and Lord Gautam Gandhar, his chief disciple, attained omniscient knowledge. According to Jain tradition, the great festival of Deepavali is celebrated in honor of the liberation of Bhagwan Mahavir and attainment of complete sentience by his chief disciple Gautam. Thus, we see that the story of the life of Mahavir is the story of the orderly development of the soul to Godhood. So gradually, he went ahead in the different stages of the spiritual development, and ultimately he attained the Godhood. So very inspiring story of Mahavir Swami, and this also inspires us to get liberated, because we are also having the same potential as Lord Mahavir. In fact, every soul in this universe all have the same potential. Okay, everyone has the same quality, attributes, same quantity of attributes, and everyone are equal. There is no one who is bigger or someone who is smaller. Each and every soul are all equal. So this was all from the story of Lord Mahavir. yesterday I had, not yesterday, but I think today, no? Yeah, today morning only, I have posted the concept clarity paper 3. That is the chapter on
The second chapter.
Second chapter, yeah.
Yes, sir.
No, fourth chapter. The 11 stages. No, sorry, not.
The method of understanding the meaning of religious texts.
Hmm.
And you also have given those 10 or 14 points, no?
Yeah. That I explained while teaching. So you can see from the recording, and then only you have to write it, or otherwise who have written it at that point of time, it is fine. So in the chapter, in the text, it is given about 4 exposition and the real point of view and a conventional point of view. But we did something extra. The other 10 points, okay? Those are also very important point, and that is the reason why I'm giving this as a homework. Okay, so this is in part 2 only. So I was just confused. Methods of understanding the meaning of religious text. So this book only, chapter 2. Okay, so you can finish as early as possible, because in 2-3 days you will have that LCPA also. Okay, so I have given you only one chapter because I don't want to load you with so many of homework. So you just finish as quickly as possible, and then you can attempt the last one, LCPA. Even if I get it tomorrow, I will not be releasing it. I'm thinking of releasing 4 or 5 days later. So the deadline of this is 19th of December. So that deadline will be around, say, 24th or 25th December. Okay. So you will have 4 or 5 days time after finishing this concept clarity. And then you have another 4 or 5 days with you before your objective starts. But after finishing this, we have still one more chapter left, the last one in this textbook. So that will be doing it in the next class next week. But after that, we will be studying that book of Nimit Upadan, small book, you know, and it carries 20 marks. So with this Tattvagyan part 2, it is 70 marks, and the other 20 marks will come from that book. So the homework that I had given you for Nimit Upadan, you know, the eternal power and all. So there were very few students who got it all correct. So I thought there is something lacking in the corrections. So we'll be doing that from that textbook also. This Nimit Upadan chapter was in this.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. It was in the fourth
Fourth
lesson.
chapter. Okay.
Yeah.
Substantive and instrumental causes. Okay. So in this chapter, I think we will be doing it that from that textbook. We'll complete that textbook also. So after finishing this last chapter next week, we will start with Nimit Upadan book. So I will get the English translation also. I think it is ready. But in any case, if it is not ready, we will read that text, and whatever correction is there is while reading, we will make out if there are any mistakes. So it is almost ready. Otherwise, there is no English book has been printed. Only Hindi books. You must all have received Hindi books only, right? On Nimit Upadhan, because English is not been printed. But there is a translation ready. There are some corrections going on. And so maybe by this weekend, I will be sharing you the text PDF file on that Nimit Upadhan book. So we'll follow that book, and you can keep the Hindi book also open. So if you don't understand anything from here, we can connect from the Hindi version also. So we'll be doing that. That will take another 2-3 weeks maybe. So classes will go on, and simultaneously your assignments also you have to complete it. So this is all. And any questions if you have? So everyone has to submit this Concept Clarity 3 on Moodle. And if you are not able to upload on Moodle, you can just mail me. That is enough. Anything else?
Sir, you have created it on Moodle.
No, I have not created.
I will have to create, no?
Yeah.
I will check tomorrow.
And if you are not able to do anything, you can ask Tanuji.
Yes.
She will guide you.
Okay, sir.
And there are few students whose assignments are pending, last assignments. I think Concept Clarity 2. And of course, Viva also. So they are requested to complete at the earliest. And you contacted Nidhi ji?
Sir, I contacted, she didn't pick up because of time difference. There is only a small window where I can call her
Oh.
on WhatsApp, no? Because the time difference is a lot. 12 hours, no? So in our day.
Yeah, around 12.5 hours, I think time difference is
because,
there.
Yeah.
So now I think it will be daytime there.
Yeah, so I will call once again. Yesterday I called after the class, but
and okay.
Plus what happens is we can do only WhatsApp call, no? It is an international call. So
yeah, you have to do WhatsApp only.
Try once again. Does
just
anybody on the group know Nidhi ji? Because she was a Nidhi Jain, so maybe.
I don't know.
Okay. No problem. I will try once again.
I think we don't have any other US student, right?
No.
Okay. Okay. So we'll close for the day. निज निधि निज में बताई यह अनंत उपकार है उसके लिए जिन वाणी माँ को वंदना 7 बार है उसके लिए जिन वाणी माँ को वंदना 7 बार है 9 बार नौकार मंत्र गिनेंगे। जय जिनेन्द्र।